Let me tell you a profound truth that will change your life forever. The power that you seek, the power to manifest even the impossible, lies dormant within you at this very moment. You are that power. You are the operant power. You are God in the most profound sense, temporarily occupying a garment of flesh. I say to you now, for just 1 minute, 1 single minute of your time, you can set in motion forces so magnificent that they will reshape your entire world. For consciousness is the only reality, and in that 1 minute of focused consciousness, you can plant a seed that must, by divine law, come to harvest. Tonight I share with you not theory but law, immutable, unchangeable law. The law states that your consciousness, your feeling, your assumption is the only reality. What you feel as true, what you accept as real in that 1 minute of focused attention, becomes the blueprint that the whole vast world must follow. Consider this: when you go to sleep tonight, enter into that 1 minute with complete surrender to your desire fulfilled. Feel it as real, feel it as present, feel it as now. For the feeling is the secret, and that 1 minute of reality of your desire is more powerful than 1,000 minutes of yearning or wanting. Let me share with you what I mean. Suppose you desire wealth beyond measure. In that 1 minute, you must feel the weight of that wealth, the satisfaction of that abundance, the joy of that prosperity as if it were already yours. You must enter into the state of the wish fulfilled so completely that when you open your eyes, the outer world seems pale in comparison to what you have just experienced. The outer world you see is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of past assumptions. But in that 1 sacred minute, you have the power to change every assumption, to rewrite every belief, to transform every aspect of your life. The whole vast world will reshape itself to match your new assumption, for this is law. I tell you, time is nothing to your subconscious mind. What you impress upon it in that 1 minute of focused feeling will work day and night to externalize itself in your world. This is why Scripture tells us, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we shall all be changed. That moment is the moment of assumption. You need not concern yourself with the how. The how is not your part in this divine drama. Your role is simply to occupy the state of consciousness, of the wish fulfilled for that 1 minute, with such intensity, such conviction, that you can say with absolute certainty, it is done. I remember a lady who came to me in dire circumstances. She had not a penny to her name, and creditors were at her door. I told her to take 1 minute, just 1 minute, before sleep, and feel the joy, the relief, the absolute knowing of having more than enough. She did this faithfully, and within weeks, through channels she could never have imagined, abundance flowed into her life from every direction. You see, the outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. It has no choice in the matter, just as the fruit must grow from the seed. Your outer world must grow from the seed of your assumption, and that seed planted in 1 minute of focused feeling contains within it all that is necessary for its own fulfillment. Let me tell you something of profound importance. When you enter into that 1 minute of consciousness, you must do so with the knowledge that you are entering the most holy of holies. You are entering into the very source of creation itself. For your consciousness, your I am is God himself, and there is no other power to create or to destroy. Think of it this way. If you were to witness a miracle this very moment, what would you feel? How would your body respond? What thoughts would flow through your mind? That is exactly how you must feel in your 1 minute of focused consciousness. You must feel the naturalness, the reality, the absolute certainty of your desire fulfilled. The reason most people fail in their manifestations is that they treat their imaginal acts as something unreal, something separate from themselves. But I tell you now, your imaginal acts are more real than the world of Caesar, for they are the very substance from which all reality springs. In that 1 minute, you must abandon yourself completely to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you desire perfect health, feel the freedom and vitality in every cell of your body. If you desire a specific position, feel the satisfaction and responsibility of that position. If you desire a particular relationship, Feel the love and connection as if it were already yours. The secret lies in the intensity of your feeling, the completeness of your absorption in the state desire. Fulfilling is the secret. And in that 1 minute of focused feeling, you are literally molding the substance of the universe according to your desire. Remember the words of Scripture, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This transformation takes place in consciousness first. And that 1 minute of transformation in consciousness will work its magic until the outer world reflects perfectly what you have impressed upon your subconscious mind. Do not make the mistake of thinking that 1 minute is too short a time to manifest the impossible. Time is only a concept of the outer world. In the realm of consciousness, in the realm of the subconscious mind, 1 minute of complete absorption in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is equal to an eternity. Let me tell you what most of humanity has forgotten. In your imagination, which is your own wonderful human consciousness, you can in 1 minute live an entire lifetime. You can compress time to such a degree that 1,000 years become as 1 day in your consciousness. This is the mystery that the ancient mystics knew. When I tell you to take 1 minute, I am speaking of a minute pregnant with infinite possibility. For in that minute, when properly used, you transcend all limitations of time and space. You enter into the eternal now, where all things are possible and all realities exist simultaneously. Consider this: every moment of your life, you are manifesting. Every single moment you are creating through your assumptions. But most of these moments are spent unconsciously accepting the limitations of your current reality. What I am giving you now is the secret of conscious creation. Deliberate manifestation through that one focused minute. Let me share with you an absolute principle. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation. Not the wish, not the want, not the desire, but the feeling of already having what for you desire. In that 1 minute, you must generate this feeling with such intensity that it crowds out all other thoughts and feelings. When you close your eyes tonight, when you enter into that 1 minute of focused consciousness, you must feel with every fiber of your being that you are now the person you desire to be. You must feel the reality of it so intensely that when you open your eyes, the physical world seems like the dream, and what you have just experienced in imagination seems like the reality. I tell you, and I tell you with absolute certainty, that your three-dimensional world is nothing more than the outpicturing of your assumptions. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, in that 1 minute, you are literally rearranging the entire universe according to your assumption. What would you feel like if you were now the person you desire to be? What would you experience? How would your friends address you? What conversations would you have? These are not idle questions. They are the very substance of creation. For in that 1 minute, as you feel these things as real, you are creating them in the only place they can be created, in consciousness. Remember the words I share with you now? Your consciousness is God. Your I am is the creator of all that appears in your world. Therefore, when you enter into that 1 minute of focused feeling, you are entering into the very creative substance of the universe. You are entering into God himself. I have tested this law countless times, and I tell you now, it never fails. A lady once came to me in tears, her child desperately ill. I told her to take 1 minute before sleep and feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude of seeing her, a child in perfect health. She did this faithfully, and within days, her child made a recovery that the doctors could not explain. You see, the outer world has no choice but to conform to your inner assumptions. This is law. Just as an apple seed must produce an apple tree, your assumption must produce its physical equivalent. And in that 1 minute of focused feeling, you are planting the seed that must come to harvest. Let me tell you of the power that lies within that 1 minute. When you enter into it, you must do so with the knowledge that you are entering into the most sacred of activities. You are literally exercising your divine right as a created being. You are doing the work that you were created to do. Do not make the mistake of thinking that this is mere positive thinking or auto-suggestion. What I am giving you is the very principle of creation itself. It is the same principle that created the stars and the planets, that maintains the order of the universe. It is the principle that Scripture refers to when it says, "Let there be light." In that 1 minute, you must let there be that which you desire to experience. You must feel it with such completion, such totality, that you can say with absolute conviction, "It is finished." But when you can feel this, when you can experience this with your whole being, the thing is done. And all the forces of the universe move to bring about its physical manifestation. Think of it this way. Everything you now accept as real was once only imagined. Your current circumstances, your present relationships, your existing conditions, all were first imagined before they became fact. Therefore, in that 1 minute, you are engaging in the most natural and most powerful of all human activities, the act of conscious creation through imagination. I tell you now with absolute authority that if you understand and apply what I am sharing with you in this moment, nothing will be impossible for you. For the one who knows how to use that, the single minute of consciousness holds within their hands the key to all creation. Consider the words of Scripture before. They call, "I will answer." This is not some distant God responding to prayer. This is the law of consciousness in operation. When you enter that 1 minute with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you have already created it. The answer precedes the call, because in consciousness, where all creation takes place, you have already received. Let me share with you a profound truth that few understand. In your imagination, there is no limitation of time or space. You can traverse 1,000,000 years in a single second of consciousness. You can experience the end before the beginning. This is why that 1 minute, properly used, can reshape your entire existence. When you lie down tonight, when you enter into that sacred minute of communion with your own wonderful human imagination, you must do so with the knowledge that you are entering the realm of cause. The three-dimensional world you see around you is merely effect. It must by eternal law conform to what you establish in consciousness. I tell you now, do not waste that minute wondering how your desire will be fulfilled. The how is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled with such intensity, such conviction, that you can feel the naturalness of it, feel the solidity of it, feel the reality of it. Imagine if you desire perfect health in that 1 minute. You must feel the vitality coursing through your veins. Feel the strength in your limbs. Feel the perfect functioning of every organ, every cell. Feel the joy of moving with. Complete freedom and vigor. Feel the naturalness of perfect health, so completely that you cannot remember what it felt like to be otherwise. If it is wealth you desire, in that 1 minute you must feel the abundance surrounding you. Feel the security of substantial wealth. Feel the freedom it brings. Feel the joy of helping others. Feel the naturalness of having more than enough. Feel it so completely that you cannot remember what lack feels like. You see, your subconscious mind knows no difference between what you imagine with feeling and what you experience in the outer world. To your subconscious mind, they are one and the same. Therefore, what you impress upon it in that focused minute of consciousness must externalize itself in your world. Let me tell you of a principle that never fails. The intensity of your feeling determines the speed of its manifestation. When you enter that 1 minute of focused consciousness, you must abandon yourself completely to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let no doubt enter. Let no contrary thought disturb your assumption. Remember this, your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you now consider real was first only imagined. The chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, the building you live in, all were first only imagined before they became fact. Therefore, what you imagine with feeling in that 1 minute is as real as anything you now consider real. I share with you now a secret of manifestation that few understand. When you enter that 1 minute of consciousness, you must do so from the end. Live in the end. experience the completion, the fulfillment, the attainment of your desire. For when you experience the end in consciousness, all the steps necessary for its achievement must unfold naturally. Think of it this way: if you were to receive news right now that your desire had been fulfilled, what would you feel? How would your body respond? What thoughts would flow through your mind? That is exactly how you must feel in your 1 minute of focused consciousness. You must generate those exact feelings, those exact sensations. Do not make the mistake of thinking that this is merely daydreaming or fantasizing. What I am giving you is the very principle by which the universe operates. It is the principle of assumption, and it never fails. What you assume to be true, what you feel to be real in consciousness, must externalize itself in your world. Let me share with you a profound truth that will revolutionize your understanding of manifestation. In that 1 minute of focused consciousness, you are literally rearranging the entire universe. For consciousness is the only reality, and what you establish there must, by eternal law, manifest in your world. I tell you from my own experience time after time that this law is as exact as mathematics. Just as 2 plus 2 must equal 4, what you feel as real in consciousness must externalize itself in your world. This is not theory. This is law, and it operates with mathematical precision. When you enter into that 1 minute tonight, you must do so with the knowledge that you are entering into the very substance of creation. Your consciousness, your I am, is God Himself in operation. Therefore, whatever you accept as true in that state of consciousness has no choice but to externalize itself. Consider this: every moment of your life, you are manifesting. Every single thought, accompanied by feeling, is creating your future. But when you take that 1 minute and consciously direct it, when you deliberately assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are exercising your divine creative power at its highest level. Let me tell you something remarkable about your imagination. In it, there is no such thing as impossibility. In that 1 minute of focused consciousness, you can be, do, or have anything you desire. The limitations of time, space, and circumstance do not exist in imagination. They are only beliefs we accept in our outer world. When you lie down tonight, when you enter into that sacred minute of communion, with your own wonderful human imagination, you must feel with every fiber of your being that your desire is already fulfilled. Feel the joy of it. Feel the reality of it. Feel the naturalness of it. If you desire a particular position or achievement, in that 1 minute you must feel the satisfaction of already having achieved it. Feel the respect it brings. Feel the responsibility it carries. Feel the natural pride in your accomplishment. Feel it so completely that you cannot remember what it felt like to desire it. You see, the secret lies in the feeling. Feeling is the secret. It is not enough to merely visualize or think about your desire. You must feel it as real. You must generate the feeling that would be yours if your desire were already a fact in the outer world. Let me tell you something about the nature of consciousness that few understand. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical body. It extends throughout the universe. Therefore, when you assume a state in consciousness, you are literally rearranging the entire universe to match your assumption. I share with you now a principle that has transformed countless lives. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation. Not the wishing, not the hoping, not the wanting, but the feeling of already having what you desire. This is the secret that all the great ones of history have known. Remember this: your outer world is nothing more than your inner world objectified. Everything you now see and experience was first only imagined. Therefore, what you feel as real in that 1 minute of focused consciousness must by law become real in your outer world. Think of the power that lies within that 1 minute. In it, you can transcend all limitations. In it, you can rewrite your entire life story. In it, you can plant a seed that must, by divine law, come to harvest. For consciousness is the only reality, and what you establish there is more real than anything in the outer world. Do not let anyone tell you that this is mere positive thinking or wishful dreaming. What I am giving you is the very principle by which the universe operates. It is the same principle that keeps the stars in their courses, that maintains the order of creation. It is the principle of conscious assumption. Let me tell you the final and most crucial truth about this 1 minute that can transform your entire existence. When you feel the reality of desire so intensely that your whole being vibrates with its truth, you have planted a seed in the fertile soil of infinite possibility that must come to harvest. Do you know why most people fail in their manifestations? They treat their imaginal acts as something unreal, something separate from life itself. But I tell you now, your imaginal acts in that 1 minute are more real than the world you see around you. For they are the very substance from which all reality springs. Think of this: every invention, every discovery, every achievement in human history began in someone's imagination. Everything that now exists in your world was once only imagined. Therefore, what you imagine with feeling in that 1 minute has a divine right to manifest. For this is the way of creation itself. I tell you with absolute certainty that if you will faithfully apply this law, if you will enter into that 1 minute each night feeling the reality of your desire fulfilled, your whole world must reshape itself to match your assumption. This is not hope, this is law. Remember these final words I share with you now. You are not some tiny being struggling against the world. You are the operant power. You are the creator of your reality. That 1 minute of focused consciousness, properly used, contains within it the power to reshape universes. Tonight, when you enter into that 1 minute, do so with the knowledge that you are entering into the most holy of holies. Feel the reality of your desire with such intensity that when you open your eyes, the physical world seems pale in comparison to what you have just experienced. For in that 1 minute, properly used, even the impossible must yield to your assumption. The whole vast world will conspire to make your assumption a reality. For this is the eternal law of consciousness. What you feel is real in consciousness must externalize itself in your world. I leave you with this final truth. The power is within you. The kingdom is within you. That 1 minute of focused consciousness, used with understanding and feeling, is more powerful than 1,000 years of toil. For in that minute you are exercising your divine right as a creative being. Go forth now with this knowledge. Apply this law. Test it. Prove it in the laboratory of your own life. For I tell you with absolute authority that even impossible will manifest for you. When you understand, apply the power of that 1 minute of focused consciousness. Let this be your practice from this moment forward. Enter that 1 minute with complete faith, with absolute conviction, with the feeling of your desire fulfilled. For when you do this, you are doing the work you were created to do. You are consciously creating your reality through the power of your own wonderful human imagination. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, in that 1 minute, you are literally rearranging the entire universe according to your assumption. There is no power outside of you that can withstand what you establish in consciousness. For consciousness is the only reality, and you are that consciousness. And now, knowing this truth, understanding this law, go forth and create the life you desire. For you hold within you, in that 1 minute of focused consciousness, the power to manifest even the impossible. This is the truth. This is the law. This is your divine inheritance. The end is where we begin. The completion is where we start. Therefore, enter into that 1 minute from the end, living in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. For when you do this, you are operating in accordance with the highest law of creation, and nothing can prevent your assumption from becoming your reality. So I say to you, finally, take this minute, use it wisely. Fill it with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and watch as the self restates itself to match what you have established in consciousness. For this is the way of creation. This is the law of assumption. And this is your power as a divine created being. Do you know why the greatest mysteries were always called unspeakable? Why the most profound truths were termed ineffable? Why the highest name of God was never to be spoken? Because, my dear wonderful friends, in the silence lies the power. Let me share something remarkable with you. In the beginning of creation, before God spoke, "Let there be light," there was silence. This primordial silence was not empty. It was pregnant with all possibility. It was not absence. It was pure potential. This same silence, this same pregnant pause of infinite potential exists within you right now. Consider this. Have you noticed that those who talk constantly about their desires rarely achieve them, while those who quietly go about their way say nothing, seem to manifest everything? This is not coincidence, my friends. This is law. Let me share a personal experience that will illuminate this truth. Years ago, when I first discovered this principle, I had a burning desire to lecture in New York City. Everyone told me to network, to spread the word, to tell people about my ambitions. But something within me, that still small voice, urged silence. For 6 months, I said nothing to anyone. I held my desire in the silence of my heart. I would sit in the silence each night, feeling the reality of standing on that New York stage. I didn't speak of it, didn't announce it, didn't even hint at it. And then, my friends, without any effort on my part, without a single word being spoken, the invitation came. You see, when you speak of your desires, you dissipate their power. It's like opening the oven door while the bread is baking. You let out the heat, and the bread falls flat. Every time you speak of your ambitions, your dreams, your goals, you are opening the spiritual oven door. Let me share something profound from Scripture. In the book of Exodus, we read, "The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." Notice it doesn't say, "and ye shall speak affirmations," or, "and ye shall tell everyone your plans." No, it says, "you shall hold your peace." This peace, this silence, is not passive. It is the most active force in the universe. It is the silence of creation itself. When you enter into this silence, you enter into the very workshop of God. Consider the mighty oak tree. Does it announce its intentions to grow? Does it proclaim its future height? No. In perfect silence, it grows. In perfect silence, it manifests its full potential. This is the way of nature. Nature, my friends, never fails. Tonight, I will show you how to enter into this silence, how to maintain it, and how to let it work its perfecting in your life. For when you truly understand the power of silence, you will never again feel the need to speak of your desires, to announce your intentions, or to seek validation from others. You will learn why the ancient masters taught their deepest truths in silence, why the greatest achievements are always conceived in silence, and why your own infinite power awaits you in the silence of your own being. This silence, my dear friends, is not the mere absence of sound. It is not the silence of meditation, though that is part of it. It is the profound silence of knowing so deeply that words become unnecessary, knowing so completely that speaking would only diminish the truth. Let me share another experience. A lady once came to me in deep distress. She had been telling everyone about her visualizations, her affirmations, her intentions. For years, she had talked about what she was going to manifest, and for years, nothing had manifested. I told her one thing: for the next 30 days, say nothing about your desires to anyone. Hold them in sacred silence. She looked at me as if I had asked her to stop breathing, but she agreed to try. Within those 30 days, more manifested for her than in the previous 3 years of constant talking. You see, she had finally learned to hold her peace and let the Lord fight for her. This, my beloved friends, is the first key to understanding the power of silence. When you truly grasp this principle, you will understand why all great spiritual teachings begin with silence, why all great achievements are conceived in silence, and why your own infinite power awaits you in the silence of your own being. The first law of silence states this profound truth: all power is in the unspoken word. The moment you speak of a thing, you begin to rob it of its power. This is why the ancient mystery schools demanded absolute silence from their initiates. They understood that power accumulates in silence and dissipates in speech. Let me explain this law through a simple yet profound analogy. Imagine you have a pot of boiling water with a tight-fitting lid. As long as that lid remains sealed, the pressure builds, creating enormous power. But the moment you lift that lid even slightly, the pressure escapes and the power diminishes. Your words are like lifting that lid. Consider this. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people rarely speak of their plans? They move in silence, like great ships in the night, revealing their presence only after they have reached their destination. This is not coincidence. This is law. Let me share an experience that will illuminate this truth. A young man came to me bursting with excitement about his new business venture. He could hardly contain himself, telling everyone he met about his plans, his strategies, his expected success. I took him aside and said, "My friend, you are spending your fortune before you have earned it." He looked puzzled, so I explained. Every word you speak about your venture is like spending spiritual currency. You are broadcasting your energy instead of building it. Enter into the silence and let your success do your talking. You see, my beloved friends, there is a spiritual principle at work here that few understand. When you speak of your desires, you are actually creating resistance to their manifestation. It's as if the universe itself has a law of inverse proportion. The more you speak of a thing, the less likely it is to manifest. This is why Scripture tells us, "Be still and know that I am God." Notice it doesn't say, talk about being still or tell others about your knowledge. It says simply, be still. Let me share something profound about this law that few understand. The power of silence is not in what it doesn't do, but in doesn't. Silence builds, silence accumulates, silence magnetizes. When you maintain perfect silence about your desires, you create a vacuum that the universe must fill. Consider the process of gestation. Does a pregnant woman need to announce her condition? No. The evidence will manifest in due time. Your desires, your ambitions, your dreams are spiritual pregnancies. They require the same sacred silence for proper gestation. Here's another vital aspect of this law. When you maintain silence about your desires, you eliminate all opposing forces. Think about this. How can anyone oppose what they don't know about? How can doubts arise about what hasn't been spoken? How can negative opinions form about what remains unannounced? Let me share another experience. A woman once came to me who had been trying to manifest a specific position in her company. She had told everyone about her desire for the promotion, had spoken constantly about her qualifications, had even started dressing for the role she wanted. Nothing happened for months. I told her, from this moment forward, say nothing. When people ask about your career plan, smile and change the subject. Hold your desire in sacred silence. Within 6 weeks, she was called into her supervisor's office and offered not just the position she wanted, but an even better one. You see, my friends, when you speak of your desires, you create a current of energy flowing outward. But manifestation requires energy flowing inward. Silence reverses the flow. Instead of broadcasting your energy to the world, you begin accumulating it. This is why I urge you, with all the conviction of my being, to take your most precious desires, your most cherished dreams, and lock them in the vault of silence. Don't speak of them. Don't hint at them. Don't even acknowledge them to others who ask. Let me give you a practical application of this law. Starting tonight, take your greatest desire and make a sacred covenant with yourself to maintain absolute silence about it for 30 days. No matter how tempted you are to speak of it, no matter who asks, no matter what circumstances arise, maintain your silence. During this period of silence, something remarkable will happen. You will feel a building of power within you. It's as if every unspoken word becomes a brick in the foundation of your manifestation. Every maintained silence becomes a force drawing your desire closer to you. Remember this crucial point. The universe doesn't need your words to bring your desires to pass. It needs only your unwavering consciousness of the end result, held in perfect silence. This is why Scripture says, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. This silence, my dear friends, is not passive. It is the most active force in creation. It is the silence of the universe. It is the silence of the universe. It is the silence of the universe. It is the most active force in creation. It is the silence of the seed growing beneath the earth. It is the silence of the stars moving through space. It is the silence of God himself as he performs his perfect work. When you truly understand this first law of silence, you will never again feel the need to speak of your desires. You will never again seek validation or confirmation from others. You will know with absolute certainty that your silence is more powerful than all the words you could ever speak. You will know with absolute certainty that your silence is more powerful than all the words you could ever speak. Let me share with you what I mean by a mental diet of silence. Most people's minds are like crowded marketplaces, full of noise, chatter, opinions, judgments, and endless internal dialogue. They wonder why their manifestations don't come to pass. Yet their mental atmosphere is so polluted with noise that the still, small voice of God cannot be heard. Consider this profound truth. Your mental conversations are more powerful than your spoken words. When you maintain physical silence, but continue to engage in mental chatter, you are still dissipating power. The mental diet of silence addresses this deeper level of quietude. Let me share an experience that illustrates this principle perfectly. A gentleman came to me frustrated that despite maintaining physical silence about his desires, nothing was manifesting. When I questioned him deeper, I discovered that although his lips were sealed, his mind was constantly rehearsing conversations about his desires, imagining telling others about his success, mentally defending his choices, inwardly explaining his methods. I told him, my friend, you are maintaining physical silence while breaking mental silence. This is like closing your front door while leaving all your windows open. You see, the mental diet of silence involves 3 levels of quietude. First, there is the silencing of mental chatter. This constant internal dialogue, your desires, your doubts, your plans, all of it must cease. When a thought about your desire arises, let it pass through your mind like a cloud passing through the sky. Don't engage it. Don't elaborate on it. Don't wrestle with it. Second, there is the silencing of mental judgment. How many of you constantly judge your progress, evaluate your results, compare your journey to others? This too must cease. Judgment creates ripples in the silent pool of consciousness where manifestation occurs. Third, and most importantly, there is the silencing of mental seeking. This is perhaps the most subtle form of mental noise, the constant seeking, searching, struggling to understand how your desire will manifest. Remember, the how is not your concern. Your only task is to maintain the silence of pure knowing. Let me share another profound experience. A lady who had been studying these principles for years came to me in tears. She had maintained perfect physical silence about her desires, but complained that her mind was screaming. I taught her what I call the Sabbath of the mind, a complete cessation of all mental activity regarding her desire. When a thought about your desire arises, I told her, treat it as you would treat a sound during meditation. Don't fight it, don't engage it, let it pass. Within weeks of practicing this mental diet of silence, her entire world began to transform. Here's something crucial to understand about the mental diet of silence. It's not about forcing your mind into silence. Force creates tension, and tension is another form of noise. Instead, it's about developing what I call quiet knowing. Quiet knowing is the absolute. Conviction that requires no mental rehearsal, no internal discussion, no constant affirmation. It is the silence of absolute faith. Think of a tree. It doesn't mentally rehearse its process of growth. It doesn't engage in internal dialogue where its fruits will appear. It maintains perfect mental silence while it operates. Let me give you a practical technique for maintaining this mental diet of silence. I call it the 3 silences. First, when a thought about your desire arises, acknowledge it silently and let it pass. Don't engage it. Don't fight it. Don't try to suppress it. Simply observe. it passing through your consciousness, like a cloud passing through the sky. Second, when you feel the urge to mentally rehearse or plan, redirect your attention to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not the thoughts about it, but the feeling of it being done. Third, when doubt or anxiety arises, enter into what I call the silence of knowing. This is not an empty silence, but the fuller silence of absolute confidence. Remember this vital truth. Your mental atmosphere is the soil in which your manifestations grow. If that soil is constantly disturbed by mental chatter, nothing can take root. But in the silence of pure knowing, everything flourishes. Let me share one final experience about the mental diet of silence. A successful businessman once told me his secret. I never think about my goals, he said. I simply know they are accomplished. This is the ultimate mental diet of silence. The complete cessation of mental effort replaced by quiet, knowing. This, my dear friends, is the true power of the mental diet of silence. It's not about suppressing thoughts or forcing your mind into quietude. It's about rising to that level of consciousness where mental chatter becomes unnecessary because you simply know. Start tonight with this practice. When you hold your desire in mind, practice the silence of knowing, not the silence of suppression, not the silence of effort, but the silence of absolute confidence. Let your mind be less quiet as the depths of the ocean, while on the surface life continues its perfect expression. Let me share with you these three chambers, for they represent the complete architecture of manifestation through silence. Understanding and entering these chambers will transform your entire approach to creation. The first chamber, physical silence. This outer chamber, my beloved friends, is where we begin our journey. But make no mistake, though it is the outermost chamber, it is far from simple. Physical silence goes beyond merely keeping your lips sealed about your desires. Let me share a profound experience that illustrates this. A man came to me, proud that he hadn't spoken a word about his goals to anyone, yet he was constantly nodding, gesturing, smiling knowingly when certain topics arose. His body was speaking what his lips were not. I told him, my friend, true physical silence includes the silence of the entire body. You see, physical silence encompasses every aspect of your outer expression, your facial expressions, your gestures, your knowing looks, all must maintain the silence. Even your actions must not betray your intentions. This is why Scripture says, let your moderation be known unto all men. The second chamber, mental silence. As we move deeper into the temple of silence, we enter the second chamber, mental silence. This chamber is far more challenging than the first, for here we must silence not just our outer expression, but our inner dialogue. Mental silence is not merely the absence of thought, it is the presence of knowing without thinking. Consider this profound truth. Does a flower think about blooming? Does an oak tree contemplate how to grow? No, they maintain perfect mental silence while the law operates through them. Let me share something remarkable about this chamber. When you truly enter mental silence, you enter into what I call the frequency of manifestation. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right frequency to receive a broadcast, your consciousness must be tuned to the frequency of silence to receive your manifestation. Here's a vital truth about mental silence. It's not about forcing your mind to be quiet. Instead, it's about rising to that level of consciousness where thought becomes unnecessary. Think of it this way. When you know how to drive a car, you don't think about every movement. You operate from a level of knowing that transcends thought. The third chamber, spiritual silence, Now we enter the Holy of Holies, spiritual silence. This innermost chamber is where the real magic happens. Spiritual silence is the silence of your very being. It is the silence of pure awareness, pura consciousness, pura I, AM. In this chamber, there's no doer, no doing, and nothing to be done. There's only the silence of pure being. This is why Scripture says, be still and know that I am God. Notice it doesn't say think about being still or try to be still. It says simply be still. Let me share an experience that illustrates the power of this chamber. A woman who had mastered both physical and mental silence came to me, still frustrated with her manifestations. I asked her one simple question. In your silence, are you still aware of yourself as the creator? She admitted she was. That, I told her, is the final noise that must be silenced. You see, in spiritual silence, even the consciousness of being the manifester must dissolve. There must be only the silence of pure being, pure I am. This is why Jesus said, I of myself can do nothing. He had entered the perfect spiritual silence where there is no doer, only the doing. Now, let me share with you how these three chambers work together. In the first chamber, you maintain perfect physical silence about your desire. No speaking, no gesturing, no outer indication of your intention. In the second chamber, you maintain perfect mental silence. No thinking about your desire, no planning, no figuring out the how. In the third chamber, you maintain perfect spiritual silence, the silence of pure being, where there is no separation between you and your desire. Here's a practical technique for entering these chambers. Begin each day with what I call the three silences practice. First, for 5 minutes, practice perfect physical silence, not just of speech, but of all outer expression. Then, for another 5 minutes, enter mental silence. Let all thoughts dissolve into the silence of pure knowing. Finally, for 5 minutes, enter spiritual silence, the silence of pure being, where there is no you and your desire, only I am. Remember this crucial truth. Each chamber prepares you for the next. You cannot enter mental silence without first mastering physical silence. You cannot enter spiritual silence without first mastering mental silence. Let me share one final truth about these chambers. They are not separate spaces, but deeper levels of the same silence. Like diving into an ocean, each chamber takes you deeper into the silence of pure being, pure-ish and pure I am. Start tonight by entering these chambers consciously. Begin with physical silence. Deepen into mental silence, and finally rest in spiritual silence. For in that ultimate silence, all things are possible. All things are accomplished. All things are done. Let me share with you the exact methods by which you can harness this silent power. For knowing without practicing is like having a map, but never making the journey. The practice of silent power consists of specific techniques that, when properly applied, will revolutionize your ability to manifest the silent hour. First, let me introduce you to what I call the silent hour. This is not merely 60 minutes of not speaking. It is a sacred practice that will transform your consciousness. Let me share with you exactly how to implement this powerful technique each day, preferably at the same time. You must set aside 1 hour for absolute silence. During this time, you enter what I call the chamber of silent power. Let me share an experience that illustrates the importance of this practice. A successful businessman once came to me, claiming he had no time for such practices. I told him, my friend, you have no time not to practice this. Within 1 week of implementing the silent hour, his entire business, transformed. Why? Because in silence, we tap into the very power that runs the universe. Here's how to practice the silent hour. First phase, 20 minutes, physical stillness. Sit in absolute or stillness. Not a finger should move. Not a muscle should twitch. This physical stillness is the foundation of silent power. Remember, as without, so within. Second phase, 20 minutes, mental stillness. Allow your mind to become as still as your body. Don't fight thoughts. Simply observe them dissolving into silence, like waves settling into a calm sea. Third phase, 20 minutes, spiritual stillness. Enter into what I call the silence of being. This is where you cease to be a person practicing silence and become silence itself, the silent assumption. Next, let me share with you the practice of silent assumption. This is perhaps the most powerful technique I can give you for manifestation through silence. Here's how it works. During your silent hour, after achieving physical and mental stillness, you must enter into what I call the state of silent knowing. This is not visualization. This is not affirmation. This is pure silent assumption of the wish fulfilled. Let me share an experience that perfectly illustrates this. A lady came to me frustrated that her visualizations weren't working. I asked her one question. When you visualize, are you trying to make something happen? Or are you silently observing what is already done? This is the key distinction in silent assumption. You see, most people's manifestation practices are noisy, even when they're not speaking. They're mentally straining, struggling, trying to make something happen. Silent assumption is the opposite. It is the quiet recognition of what already is, the silent watch. Another crucial practice is what I call the silent watch. This is the art of maintaining silence, not just doing, your dedicated practice time, but throughout your daily activities. Here's how. To implement it throughout your day, whenever your desire comes to mind, practice what I call the silent response. Instead of engaging with thoughts about your desire, simply respond with silent knowing. This is not suppression. It's elevation to a higher level of consciousness. Let me share a powerful technique for maintaining the silent watch. Imagine your consciousness as a deep, still lake. Thoughts about your desire are like stones being thrown into that lake. Instead of creating ripples, engaging with the thoughts, let the stones sink into the depths, leaving the surface, undisturbed. The silent Sabbath, perhaps the most powerful practice I can share with you, is what I call the silent Sabbath. One day each week, maintain complete silence about your desires. Not just external silence, but complete inner silence as well. This practice is based on a profound spiritual law. Just as the physical world has a rhythm of activity and rest, so too does manifestation require periods of complete silence. Here's how to practice the silent Sabbath. Choose one day each week where you will maintain complete silence regarding your desires. On this day, not only do you not speak of them, you don't think of them, you don't plan for them, you don't even acknowledge them. This is true spiritual rest. Let me share something remarkable about this practice. A student once told me that more manifestation occurred during his Sabbath than during all his days of active practice combined. Why? Because in complete silence, the law operates unimpeded. The silent temple, another crucial practice, is creating what I call the silent temple in your living space. This is a dedicated area where you practice your silence. It needn't be large. Even a corner of a room will suffice, but it must be consecrated to silence. Here's how to create and use your silent temple. Choose a space where you won't be disturbed This space should be free from all distractions. No phones, no electronics, nothing that can interrupt your silence. In this space, practice what I call the three silences. The silence of the body, the silence of the mind, the silence of the spirit, the silent manifestation. Journal. Finally, let me share with you the practice of keeping a silent manifestation journal. This is not a regular journal where you write about your desires. Instead, it's a record of your silent knowing. Here's how to maintain this journal. Each day, after your silent how, make one single mark in your journal. Not words, just a mark. This mark represents your silent communion with your desire as fulfilled. Over time, these marks become a powerful testament to your silent practice. Remember this crucial truth about the practice of silent power. It's not about what you do. It's about what you allow. In silence, you're not creating. You're allowing creation to express through you. The first principle, silent knowing. The foundation of all achievement is what I call silent knowing. This is not the noisy confidence that needs to proclaim itself, but the quiet certainty that needs no announcement. Let me share an experience that perfectly illustrates this principle. A young entrepreneur came to me, constantly talking about his future success, always announcing his next big move. I asked him, do you speak about your next heartbeat? Do you announce for your next breath? He looked puzzled. No, I explained, because you are silently certain they will occur. This is the kind of certainty you must have about your achievement. You see, true achievement operates like the law of gravity in perfect silence. The apple doesn't discuss its journey to the ground. It simply falls in response to an unspoken law. The second principle, silent action. Here we come to a crucial understanding about achievement, the power of silent action. Most people's actions scream their intentions, broadcast their ambitions, but the master of silent achievement moves like the roots of a tree, unseen but unstoppable. Consider this profound truth. The most powerful forces in nature operate in complete silence. The earth doesn't announce its rotation. The sun doesn't proclaim its rising. They simply act in perfect, silent harmony with law. Let me share with you the three levels of silent action. Physical silent action. This is action without announcement. You move toward your goal without declaring your movement. Your actions speak, but your lips remain sealed. Mental silent action. This is action without mental noise. You proceed without internal dialogue, without constant self-commentary, without mental rehearsal. Spiritual silent action. This is action from pure being. You move not as someone trying to achieve, but as the achievement itself expressing. The third principle, silent power. Here we touch upon perhaps the most profound aspect of silent achievement, the understanding that true power operates in silence. Let me share something remarkable about this principle. The most powerful moment in any achievement is not the moment of visible success. It's the silent moment of absolute knowing that precedes it. This is why Scripture says, "Before they call, I will answer." The achievement is completed in silence before it ever becomes visible. Consider these aspects of silent power. The power of silent certainty. This is not the certainty that needs confirmation or reassurance. It is the quiet knowing that simply is. The power of silent progress. True achievement doesn't announce its progress like a seed growing beneath the earth. It maintains perfect silence until manifestation is complete. The power of silent presence. This is the state of being where achievement is not something you're working toward, but something you're silently expressing. The fourth principle, silent timing. One of the most crucial aspects of silent achievement is understanding what I call silent timing. Most people rush to announce their moves, reveal their plans, declare their intentions. The master of silent achievement understands the power of silent timing. Let me share an experience that illustrates this perfectly. A woman came to me frustrated that her achievements seemed to keep slipping away. When I observed her, I noticed she announced every move before it's taught. I taught her what I call the silent calendar, letting achievements ripen in silence until their perfect moment of expression. Here are the three aspects of silent timing. The silence of preparation. This is the period where you work in complete silence, telling no one, showing no one, simply preparing. The silence of process. This is the period where the achievement is actually forming like a baby in the womb. Perfect silence. Must be maintained. The silence of manifestation. This is where most fail. They break. Silence just before manifestation is complete. Maintain silence even as your achievement becomes visible. The fifth principle, silent victory. Here we come to the crowning principle of silent achievement, what I call silent victory. This is perhaps the most difficult principle to master for it. Goes against every worldly instinct. When achievement comes, when success manifests, when victory is won, maintain your silence. Let me share why this is so crucial. The moment of achievement is not the end. It is merely a visible confirmation of what was already true in silence. By maintaining silence, even in victory, you maintain the channel through which greater achievements will flow. Consider these aspects of silent victory. The silence of accomplishment. Let your achievements speak for themselves. The truly accomplished never need to proclaim their accomplishments. The silence of success. True success is like the sun. It needs no announcement, no proclamation. Its presence is self-evident. The silence of mastery. The true master is known by their silence. They need not speak of their mastery. It speaks through their being. Let me share with you the practical application of these principles. Begin tonight with what I call the silent achievement practice. Choose your next achievement. Enter into perfect silence about it, physical, mental, and spiritual. Move toward it with silent action. Maintain silence even as it manifests. Continue in silence after it is achieved. Remember this profound truth. The greatest achievements in history were first accomplished in silence before they ever became visible to the world. Your achievement is no different. Begin now to walk the silent way of achievement. Let your silence be your power, your knowing, be your proclamation, your being, be your doing.